should be live now. Was running a little bit behind, but everything should be good to go now. Please bear with me as I try to get the things up and running that I need to get up and running. There we go. Oh, well, I thought there we went. Let's try again. Sorry, YouTube is fighting me on my end. If this is your first time here, I apologize. This is unfortunately not as new as I wish it was. YouTube seems to have a bit of personal grudges. Anyways, there we go. Okay. It looks to be good now. Alright. So, where I left off last time, I was kind of just making my way through the story. I kind of hit a general decent enough spot. I can't remember why I had to quit at the time that I did. But I do recall it wasn't a particularly long stream, and the stream before that was significantly even shorter because, unfortunately, again, there was some issues at the time. Hopefully, a lot of those issues are finally dialed back and largely figured out. Anyways, I do have a new outfit on for my character. Honestly, the glasses are so-so, but just to update, there has been some experience gating in the background because even though I'm not streaming this game, I am still playing this game because I do very much like this game. That said, I am not progressing in the story at all, and, you know, all things considered, given what we left off on, I think the outfit is kind of working, you know? Again, sunglasses I could go with or without, but yeah, I kind of like it. I think it's very fitting and effective for where I was going with the character, very tomboy-esque. Rigid, welcome to the stream. How are things going? Hopefully things are going well. How is work? I did see that you got a new little decorative box going on.
I knew we would have heard from them by now.
Definitely not my first time.
But this damage, it's not the usual claw or bite marks.
We're a little early on for me to read that as written. My first time was popped back when you played. Yo, was it Mega Man Battle Network? Was that the first? That, you know, that was a fair bit ago at this point. Alright, we are gonna search the area because, frankly, where we're at with the story, I've got enough muscle to deal with almost anything.
Let's keep looking.
I think the game wanted me to be somewhere between like 10 and 12, and I'm like level 25 now. Yo, Rezo! Welcome to the stream. How are things going? Awesome to have you here. And nerd stuff? Wait. What the? First of all, what is significantly larger people doing stopping in here? Rigid's usual, but yo, what's up?
Multiple signals.
Yeah, Battle Network was played a while back, and it was actually my first exposure to it. I'm relatively... hypothesize. I'm relatively new to the Mega Man Battle Network series back when we played it at that time. By the way, I think I had a great Dr. Wily voice, very Klaus Schwab-esque.
Or are they visitors like us? And if so, from
but yeah, my Mega Man experience was basically Legends. If you know Mega Man Legends, X, and then that was basically it. So getting to experience Battle Network for the first time after growing up, so many people I know loving the hell out of it. I actually had a friend who had some of those. I think they were, to my knowledge, they were exclusive to Japan, but they had those actual physical Battle Network card chips that you could get. Network was my jam back in the day. Seen a familiar face playing classics, had to join. Wait, is this... Do I have it listed as Battle Network? What is going on here? No, this is X. Okay, we're good here. Look, I don't know what's going on. I'm a swing first, though.
Did you already forget my first lesson? Fighting is a last resort.
No. We are trapped on a hostile alien planet where literally everything that moves wants to kill me. And so my answer is swing first, ask questions
we're willing
later.
To negotiate. If you have any Earth alien prisoners, we'd ask the conditions for their release. If you don't, we'll leave you in peace.
No negotiation.
No, I was just hyped up seeing Bridget talking. Okay, yeah.
We have our orders.
Yeah, like I said, growing up, I actually had a friend who had some of the actual physical Battle Network cards. I can't recall how exactly they were supposed to work in the game, but I don't think they worked on the American version. For some reason, there was supposed to be like some way to scan them or something. I can't remember. This is like digging so far back. Quick cooldown. Alright, well, I will figure out how that goes as the combat unfolds, because frankly, I've got a fair bit of muscle on hand at this point. Yeah, like I said, I'm level 25. I don't fear a lot of the story progression right now.
Diplomatic approach. What's the deal with wanting us all dead?
I didn't even know they had cards. I had the first maybe 3 games though on GBA. Wasn't there only 3 that released in the US? Yeah, let me double check this, because I swear, I'm gonna do this real time here. Give me a second here. Mega Man Battle Network real cards. Yeah, there was like a whole series of like little of chipsets you could get. Now I don't know how you made them work in the game, but there was a whole thing about that. There were 5? Sweet mother of God. Only 3 cared about story. Honestly, Mega Man story is one that confuses the ever-loving heck out of me, but that's because you're talking about, from my understanding, many different quote-unquote Mega Man. I think, what is it? The Legends is called Volknut or something like that. And then you've got Mega Man, you've got X, you've got Volknut, and then the Battle Legends is its own thing. And where they all fall in the timeline, if they're even connected, confuses the heck out of me. Alright, let's just push on through. I believe, and again, I'm looking at trying to think back to the Wii U days. Trying to go back to the Wii U era with this. I think this is where we are going to meet the little mascot character. The, I can't think of... Their name is a spoof on the region of Japan, but I can't think of it offhand. We're gonna meet the character here in a minute though. Richard, what's up? Welcome to the stream. How are things going? Hopefully things are going well.
Lynn, can you give us an approximate location for that IFF signal?
Let's see. Seems to be originating from that building.
Yeah, it's almost like Link, never actually the same guy. Yeah, again, I'm of the opinion with The Legend of Zelda, so I am a massive Zelda fan. I've actually shared in the Discord a few times some of my general collection size there. A big Zelda fan, and I am of the rather unpopular opinion that the timeline, even the official one that we got in the Historia, was completely unnecessary. It was kind of answering a question that really didn't ever have to be a thing in the first place. And I think they kind of brought about some questions when they tried to force things to fit in certain ways. Because really, it just... They had such an easy to go for answer in the idea of just... Yes, they're all in the same universe. And the timeline is rather irrelevant because, you know, it's the whole reincarnation thing or whatever they had going on. Alright, I think I'm just working my way further in, right? Yeah, okay, I think... I'm going off of memory here. I was not paying attention to the story as written. I seem to recall that I'm kind of supposed to be finding my way to a,
We have to take them on. Start with
to a box somewhere.
close in and seal the deal.
I'm also not particularly keen on not fighting anything, because I've got all kinds of power to deal with it if I have to.
We have to take them on. Start with melee now. It's my turn. Fight now. Melee attack. Take this. Use an aura. Get control of the battle. Burning slash. Sliding slinger. Blast. They never.
There we go.
Hope I didn't get in the way.
No, whoa, what was that? That was some controller funkiness right there. Am I going inside or off to the... No, we're just gonna go inside. Can I have the... Thank you. Alright, seriously, is it just that there are people standing there? Is that the issue I'm having? That is exactly the issue I'm having. No, it's not the region of Japan. There's a term for... I don't want to say the wrong thing and just have everybody be like, Ian hates Japanese people or some stupid bullshit. But there's a term that, like, the people call the region of Japan historically. I don't even know if it's in use anymore. And...
Blood.
God dang, I can't think of it.
Not smile upon them today.
Nelson.
You filthy Earth aliens do not belong on this planet.
You seem more fluent than the others. Are you in charge?
Okay, I looked it up. So yeah, Japanese people generally call their country Nippon, Nippon,
Time for you.
and it is from that you get the Napon, which is the name of the little potato people in Xenoblade. And I'm going to call them the little potato people because, again, I'm part Irish, and so I look at them and that's what I see. Also, I seem to think, as I recall, Lynn is in that same category. She looks at them and just like, you are equal parts food. I'm glad I looked that up because I would have looked like an absolute idiot trying to think of that on my own.
Words are wasted on us. All we can promise Earth
Alright, let me double back and make sure I read up to everything on the chat here because I missed a fair bit. Recently I actually got into Mega Man X. That reminded me of how much I suck at the platform. Yeah, the old platforming stuff is rather difficult. And the amount of stuff that is reliant on you looking at memorizing and actually reacting in real time to patterns and making use of timing and all of that, that was a pain in the ass back in the day. Back when you quite literally had... No, I'm just going to skip all of that. When you quite literally had, like, a lot of time to really focus in, because again, you know, the games were made to be hard to make you get the most out of it that they could manage you to get out of it. Just swing big right now. Alright, there we go. Everybody's dealt with. Hey, Dem, welcome to the stream. How are things going? What's going on across the pond? Fill us in. Hopefully everything is going all well for you. Alright, so yeah, the only two regions of Japan.
I don't get it.
I was just...
Why would they be so bent on killing all humans?
I was just destroying.
Who can say? Whatever the reason.
Oh, trying to clean my laptop.
We should let the others know ASAP.
Yeah, I have no idea why you're destroying your laptop, but probably don't do that.
Roger that.
Yeah, as far as cleaning it goes, that reminds me I have to clean my PC out. If you recall, in the past, I had some RAM issues developing with my PC. I quite literally have the RAM cards and have not had the time to put them in. So I'd have to swap my RAM out. It should be the same kind of card. It just went through my Amazon history. But when I do that, I know I'm going to have to dedust that bitch, and it is going to be a pain in my ass. Nope, just crack it open. Yeah, I always thought the exact same way till the book came out. Well, yeah, and even when the book came out, realistically, they answered a lot as far as like giving a timeline idea, but in doing so, they also created a lot of questions. So again, when you come into going forward and you have things like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, is there a place that they fit in officially? Sure. But there are questions that play into a lot of this. When you really dig into it in the moment, you can come up with a couple of things that just kind of don't fit right. But also, I really think that the Zelda games were originally made without any of that ever being a part of the intent. It was make fun, good games because that's what they had to at the time. And as the culture developed, as they made more, people started speculating, wondering. Maybe around at some point they started worrying about lore and fitting things together properly. But really, a lot of what Nintendo did really just kind of felt like make good games at the time. And they tried to force fit pieces into a puzzle that fans created. Fans made a puzzle and Nintendo said, okay, let's give them a way to put these together and make the picture that they seem to want. So on the one hand, it's like really cool that Nintendo saw what the fans were doing and did something in response to it and gave us an official element to look at. But there are questions that come out from it, and I don't think you're ever gonna get really good answers because at least my opinion on it, the games were not made with that intent originally, and you're gonna have issues result from that.
And then just recently, the Prones show up and quickly hunt you.
Switch to opinions. What are you boys feeling about the new hardware? I have strong opinions on this. There is a lot of good, a lot of great even. And I see a lot of people getting upset about various pricings on things, and I agree with some of it. I actually think my opinion is Nintendo was originally being a little ballsy, not really so bad, but sure, I guess. Nintendo was being a little ballsy on the hardware pricing, but honestly not terribly so, and certainly not outside of the realm of reasonable. When you look at what the system's capable of, what they're working with, but there were some questions I had. We don't have Hall Effect joysticks. My question there is, so are we going to have the same Joy-Con drift that we had before? They did not instill me with the confidence that they learned their lessons from that time. The mouse application. If part of the appeal of the old Joy-Con was the idea of pulling them apart and having them one in each hand, you're now locking, and that was for on the go, you are locking yourself into needing to have a flat surface once again. What's the point of the mice if you're playing the game on the go? If you're on the train or on the bus and you've got your Switch in your hand, you can't use that feature. And so it's really only something that's going to be built in for at-home use. But then why, unless it's just subtle benefits or something? And then, of course, if you're looking at maybe a first-person shooter, does that give you an inherent advantage playing online? How are they going to balance for that? I have a lot of questions about a lot of these things, and really, it's never going to get a proper answer until the actual hardware comes out, and you really see what they're going to do about it. Once we had the tariffs come into play, I know a lot of people... no, I'm just going to disagree with Tatsu on principle. Alright, anyway, so the pricing when the tariffs came into play, again, when I looked at what they were doing with pricing, I knew that they had given themselves some breathing room to eat it. But I'll be honest, even from the very get-go, I had a minimum expectation for what the Switch 2 was going to be as far as hardware goes, and they beat it. Not only did they beat it at the price point I was kind of visualizing on the high end for my lower expectations. So they beat my bar and came in right at price point. I'll be honest, for what they're delivering, I don't even think they would be absurd to ask $500 for the hardware. But so far, All I'm talking about is hardware element. I have so many problems with what they're doing software end. This game card key pass thing, a really cool idea that I really think, unfortunately, is going to be massively abused by developers because these cards are going to be cheaper to print. Anybody doing third-party games is going to be looking at that as a great option to get physical out there. But then you're going to run into the idea that nobody's going to want to buy it. For the physical element, nobody's going to want to buy it because they want to have the actual game. When you're talking third-party, these are your smaller games that get printed out and are easily able to fit the entire game on the game cart. Sure, big, massive games. You know, you look back on the Switch 1 and you have, like, The Witcher. You're not going to have all of that fitting on a game card. It makes sense that you have to download some of that. And even right now, if you look at these games, they're going to say on the box when that comes up. But you're talking about an actual rarity. I actually was making a point when I first started this game on Xenoblade Chronicles X, because I'm going to sit on this window for a minute here, so just bear with me, please. When it came out, there was no update. There was no mandatory update when you put the game in and you wanted to play it from the card. I was shocked by that because I came by to play it so damn late behind everybody. This is the 3rd episode of this stream, and I still don't have an update that I have to do for this game. This game was playable right out of the box. Put your card in, it's all there. So I thought, holy cow, that's awesome. So, you know, again, you still have games coming out that are fully on the hardware. But I think this key card is going to make a cheaper option where they think they're going to appease a group that they're not going to appease, and the return that they're going to get on the offhand is going to be less than what they were actually going to get. My hope is, and this is going to be an absurd thing, let me know if you think this is even viable, for the games that the entire card can fit on, I have long wondered why it is that when you remove the manufacturing process out of physical media, that you would have the same price for a digital versus a physical media. They talked about a $10 surcharge. Again, I don't mind the $10 surcharge to get my physical media. It makes sense to me. People getting it digitally aren't paying for the manufacturing of the card. They're not paying for the manufacturing of the hardware. All that makes sense. So, cool. I don't mind a $10 surcharge. But if you're going to have this cheaper card option that is going to be essentially a digital key card passphrase, it shouldn't be the same upcharge that you're doing for a physical realm. Now, I don't recall if they've ever done away with the idea of that. That was a rumor at one point, and I don't know if they've addressed that in a full stop denial. But I didn't even mind it at that point when it was a rumor. It made sense to me. But if people only offer the key card option, you make the benefits of paying that surcharge, that $10 upcharge, go away. There is no benefit, and now we're back to the idea of why have that upcharge. Add to it, I think they were crazy when they went from, you know, yes, is $70 the market standard? Yes. Are we looking at a time where that's going to go up? Yes. I think it was absurd that Nintendo was the one to bite down on it and say we're going to do the hike up first. I really think their best bet would have been to have said, we're releasing at standard market value of $70, but market changes happen. Expect things to change as they do in the market trend. And they can adapt and let somebody larger and more expected to make the change, again, like Rockstar with GTA 6, let them be the one to bite on the bullet, and they can skirt in on the back end and make it hurt less on the shock value. Just prepare people and acknowledge that it's going to happen. The other thing there is you're going to run into problem when you do variable pricing, because now you're going to say, well, if this is priced at this and this is priced at that, are you implying that you as a company are valuing your IP differently? And if so, do the market trends showcase and, you know, resemble that? If it's all their first party, there's a lot of questions during all of that. And the idea that they went from our most expensive game on the Switch one was $70, and now we're opening the gate at $80. Again, I think they just really dropped some balls and fucked up on a lot of it, and they're probably going to pay for a little bit. Anyways, I'm a highly opinionated guy with asshole-ish takes, so by all means, call me out on any of this if you think I need to be, but I think they kind of fucked up a little bit, and the thing is the ways that they fucked up could have been implemented and just done with far more tact than they actually did. Alright, let me back up and make sure I read all of chat because that was a long-winded tangent. I can't stand the voice actors for the little potato dudes in these games. I don't mind them, but they really have a very different way of speaking, and some of them are more grating than others, and yes, that is an intentional pun on the potato people. Switch 2 has me excited, just finally getting Kirby Air Ride sequel. Sometimes it is better to fact check things, sometimes I say as someone who doesn't do this as much as I should. I never actually played Air Ride, was it good? Air Ride is, in its era, great. I'm not sure how well it holds up. I might be thinking back on it with rose-tinted glasses. But if it's as good as I remember, it will be fun when it comes out. Oh, also, the digital GameCube library is going to be fire. That is just a given. The fact that you're getting some incredibly rare titles, Fire Emblem, Pokemon Gale of Darkness, the fact that we're getting these, like, already promoted, whether or not they come out day one, huge deal. Those right there, if you tried to buy those physically right now, that's the cost of your online subscription for a few goddamn years. Isn't made by the same guy that made Smash. I keep forgetting that Sakurai made a lot of Kirby games. Not much has happened since last we did 35K yesterday. Got some new running trainers. Yo, all right, mad respect. And hit the weights. Okay, so you know your boy likes doing the free weights, so mad respect. I am a lifting boy. One moment. All right, I am sorry about how bad that went. That was... let me slide that back in place. There we go. My dog was just losing her damn mind. Sorry about that. Literally had to go chasing after her. She was all the way back into the farthest back point of my backyard. All right, to catch up on what's going on here. Both my... What the... Come on, really? I walk away long enough to go deal with my dog, and it starts shutting down. Both my brother and Nate from home are staying Saturday, and we are all going to going on a night out, which should be good fun. Awesome. They're saying some new Joy-Con technology, not Hull effect though, unfortunately. Yeah, so as I said, there's going to be a lot of questions on how that's going to all work out long term. I'm going to try my hardest to get one when it comes out. I already took off work. I thought the console was going to be at least 500 minimum. Yeah, see, again, 500 was like the idea that I was sitting at. So where they're coming in from kind of makes a lot of sense to me. I really think that they are putting in the value for the hardware. Let's get that going. All right. What is? Well, the follow ball is on, but it's not really pointing me anywhere. So lovely.
Start with melee. Shadow strike. Smash him out. They never stood a chance.
We got him. Let's move.
All right, I assume where they're wanting me. You know what? Let me just get the actual mission log here. Oh, okay, yeah. So I'm really just going the wrong way. Let me go fix that. This is what I get for not paying attention to the story. Oh, I thought this was back in the building where I was. Whoops. Well, that's even. You know what? That's even easier. I'm just gonna take that as I go and keep trying to deal with this here. I think the price difference should be reversed. Digital should have just went down $10 instead of increasing both. Again, I would say that would be a smarter way to go about it.
They may be related to the forces that destroyed Earth.
So like I said, it makes sense on the manufacturing side to make the people like myself who want physical pay a premium for physical. It makes sense. I'm not going to complain that I would be paying a premium for that. However, there's kind of already a quote-unquote market standard for game prices, and Nintendo is the one deciding that they're going to jump the shark, coming from the standpoint in most consumers' mind that Nintendo is not the highest rated, high-end, crazy dev anymore. There was a point in time in which Nintendo did that, back when Nintendo was making use of their seal of, what was it, the Nintendo seal of approval, as kind of a legal flagship thing to say, this is a quality game. It was honestly a big part of their marketing way back in the day. Going from that to where we are now, Nintendo is kind of now, they're their own thing. They're separate from Microsoft and Sony in the console war these days for a very good reason. But part of that does come with the mental stigma of the value chopped down. They get their own thing and they have a perfectly viable carve out in the market for their flavor of things. But it does come with that stigma. And for you to say now, we're going to be the ones to take the upcharge, and we're going to do it both physical, digital, and have, again, rumor or not, because I didn't look it up right now, of some things now or down the line, questionable at the very least, with an additional charge on top of everything. When you start dancing with the concept of games at the current market value and consider Nintendo's prior market value, where their highest end was $70, and I believe that only happened once, maybe twice on an entire platform's livelihood, and you're looking at now a possible argumentative claim of upwards of maybe $90 again at the 80 that they're talking about, with the possible surcharge going on. And that's before you're putting DLC packs into anything, before you're looking at like collector's editions of anything. When you're saying $90 out the door, Nintendo has not made anything in recent years that I think anybody would look at and then look at like your Elden Rings and your other games that just have so much public, I'm talking from the public eye viewpoint, value that they can ask for, and then you look at anything that Nintendo has made or published or any of that and say, is this worth even what they're asking? You get questionable and you get into people's personal tastes. When you talk the market at large, I'm assuming not. Now, $20 more?
That's not funny.
Kind of a big ask.
This is so unfair.
They definitely ripped the band-aid off on the prices. I don't even bother complaining because I know I'm still going to pay it. I'm part of the problem in the end. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I went into the Nintendo Direct with the mindset of, I'm a day one purchase. They could ask for $600 for the console, and I'd probably be like, yo, that fucking sucks, and there's no way they're going to justify $600 to me. But as a buyer, I was looking at it like I'm a day one purchase. The hardware's a one-time buy. I'll pay through the nose for quality hardware. Nintendo does a lot of good things on that. And then when they got to all of the questions I have about all of the game stuff, there's too much on the table. There's too much that I have questions for. There's too much that I don't like the market direction of. There is too much bad baggage on the game side that I went from a day one buy, even if you were asking for the moon on pricing for the console itself, that I said, I'm out. I'm not a day one buy anymore. I am probably going to be in the position of waiting for a couple of games to come out, waiting for things to have a library of things I want, and then maybe I'll pick one up. But right now, my entire, like, if I showed you my Switch collection and you said, this is what I would be spending on the Switch 2, more than likely, you know, and then adding to it that I would be paying for the upcharge to get the, you know, the Switch 2 visuals on some of these. To look at that library and say that someone like me is now out entirely because of some of these decisions, I'm confident. So to look at that and realize that I can't be the only one, I'm questioning how much Nintendo is going to lose on this. And what we're going to see, and a lot of people talk about like, oh man, but like the places that already have the Switch 2 on pre-order, it's sold out. People need to remember, the Wii U sold out on pre-orders. The Wii U was massively promising. The Wii U had a big upswing. They were talking about come Christmas, they were going to have issues getting enough consoles in people's hands. They had a massive wave at the beginning. But we know what happened to the Wii U. My question is, what kind of damage did they do? And I know it's not going to be Wii U bad. I am completely expecting it. It is never going to be Wii U bad after the success that they had with the Switch and the range up there. The other thing they're going to have, though, is there is going to be the parent problem. Some people are going to look at the Switch and the Switch 2 and not understand what the difference is. The same way that some of the parent problem worked when you had the Wii and the Wii U. To people involved that are in gaming, they knew the difference. To people outside, they really didn't. There's a lot that's going to go into a lot of this that is just... I heard none of that, but I'm going to pretend that I did.
Good. Then let's move on to the other pressing threat that Blade has to deal with.
As someone with 5 dogs, I definitely understand. Meanwhile, my idea of lifting is the trash bags at my job. They do get pretty heavy, though. My fat ass is a consumer in more ways than one. I would have sold them a family member day one if I have to. I don't care. Just give it to me. At least I get to keep both my middle fingers and my soul. Yeah, you know, and again, I am historically a rather super consumer. I mean, you know what? After the stream, I'll probably take a picture of a big pile of Switch games and just say, this is what I bought during the Switch's lifespan. I might just like show a general pile up of them or something. And then that doesn't even count the digital games. I've bought a couple of
Don't
digital
get me
games,
wrong.
but like
It's not
physical
like
is
you
my
run out there
preferred
and
way
line
to
up
go.
anything that moves.
I'll take a picture of that
Only
pile up,
Blade HQ can
realize that some of these fuckers came in like a big collector's box. For God's sake, I bought the Tears of the Kingdom Switch that I didn't even open. I'm that kind of consumer. I bought a whole hardware system that I didn't even open, that I just threw up on my shelf because I'm like, I like Zelda, I have a working Switch, I don't need to open that one, onto the shelf with you. It wasn't even like, oh, hey, I'm going to sell it and make money. No, it was just like, fucker, go on there and just look good. Go up there and look pretty for me. That's the kind of buyer I am, and even I pulled out on the Switch too, because they did a lot of fuck up on the game side of things.
It's not the kind of stuff just one
And again,
person
it's
can
not
handle
just
alone.
the price. It's the potential. Where are they going with what does physical even mean? I want to own what I buy. And I don't have the confidence that they are creating a market where that's going to be the longevity of what gets released. I got like 5 special edition Switches. Yeah, I've got 3. So, you know, that's where I'm going to be on that.
HQ has no way of knowing what every blade
I also got a bunch of the special Joy-Cons and so on. But I'll be honest, every single Joy-Con that I've opened and used has ended up suffering from drift. That a lot of them, like I bought the what is it, the special Zelda one as well. I never even opened it because I'm just like, it's just gonna get drift, and I don't want to deal with that. So I was like, you know, it just goes on the shelf. It just looks pretty.
Frontier nav. And take on squad missions when you can to keep us safe. Got all that?
So yeah, I have been a massive Nintendo fan my entire life. Again, I heard none of that, but I am going to pretend with blind confidence that I know what's going on.
And briefing adjourned. Thank God.
But also, like I said, I might not be the normal on that
All
as
right,
far
well, it's
as,
getting
you know,
pretty
pulling
late,
out
isn't
and
it?
just being like, look, I've got to have my hands off for a while on
let's
this
call it a
one.
night.
But I doubt I'm alone. And I'm curious what bite they're going to do to their bottom line. And is that going to be enough to affect things? Because that's what's going to ultimately make the decision.
Right over there.
If they take enough of a hit, because dealing with PR heat, Nintendo can deal with that all day long. They do it with everything they deal with. For God's sake, look at how bad the last couple of Pokemon games have been functionally. I'm not talking about like the Pokemon designs or the gameplay, having fun playing it or whatever, but on a technical standpoint, they've been pretty trash and they get lambasted for it, and we can see that they're still selling like hotcakes. The question is what kind of hit are they going to have, and if it is enough of a hit financially, that's where Nintendo gives a fuck. They can look at like bad PR and laugh it off all day long. Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons have all the durability of a wet leaf. I never got drift because I never used the Joy-Cons. I collect them for the color. Yeah, again, that's what I do with them now. I collect them because they can look pretty on a shelf. But I only like using the Pro Controller, and I rarely play in handheld mode at all. The amount of time that my Switch has been out of the dock makes me pissed off that I ever bought a cover for my Switch. You know, a little screen protector. It has been out. It was probably out of the dock like twice when I opened the Switch for the first time. And then, you know, when I opened the Switch for the first time and I set it all up, it was out of the dock. And then I took it on vacation once, and I don't think I've ever taken it out of the Switch dock since then. I even have a secondary Switch that I just hooked up in my bedroom, and it's just like, look, if I just want to play something, I'll move it over to there. But like, I've got like just different save files and everything. Just I've got a whole different setup for it. Mind you, this is the same way I did my PS4. I've got 3 PS4s. So like, it is just, I will buy more consoles just to not have to move things. And the Switch's entire thing is about your ability to move things. Alright, I finally got the option to go online. Finally! Alright, I'm sure there's going to be all sorts of things. I will read through all of this later when I'm not... No. Go away. What the fuck? Can I just not? Whatever the hell you're doing, I don't want to go online. Fuck you. Look, no. I don't want you people. Get out of my game. There we go. All right, there. Party. Nope, active members. I think these are other, yeah, these are other story characters. Let's take Irina with us. All right, there we go. So yeah, not only do I have my Switches, my brother's got, I think, two. I think he's got his own, and I think his kids have one. And I doubt he's going to get a Switch too as well, probably for the same reason. My brother's gotten Drift using Pro controllers, oddly enough. I'm willing to bet you... So here's the thing about Drift. Every controller is susceptible to Drift. People say like, oh, hey, it's just a new thing for the modern controllers. It's a Nintendo-only thing. No, every controller is susceptible to Drift. Even the Hall Effect sticks. The difference is the durability. Nintendo's durability and fighting that off is dog water. It is not very good. But that is a Joy-Con problem, and not like, you know, again, Pro controllers are more drift resistant than a Joy-Con, but it's not like they can't develop it. Again, Hall Effect Switches, they operate by virtue of magnets. They're still susceptible, just not as much so. All right, I want to finish off with some more of these. I am not used to having this much to talk about, so like the amount of stopping I have to do in order to catch up on this, I apologize, guys. All right, we went through that. Brother's gotten. I did get Drift on my Smash Pro controller after about 5 years. Speaking of bad things, making a lot of money. Yeah, I'm sure we can go down an entire laundry list of things like that. Did you see how much money that stupid Minecraft movie made off of people throwing their popcorn when they say chicken jockey? I have not seen how much money it has actually made. However, I'm willing to bet it is a crazy amount because they decided to ride the wave of people, just big, terrible people in movie theaters. And that made it a meme, and meme culture is real. If you remember, I'm gonna get political here for just a moment, but bear with me, I'm going somewhere with this. Donald Trump, on his first election, was memed into the White House. Now you have 4 years of him being in there that made people result in various other memes and all that stuff, but Donald Trump getting elected the first time, meme magic was a part of it, and you cannot deny it. That comes into play here. No matter what you're talking about, if you have meme magic playing a factor, it will affect things. All right, let me take a look at the map, figure out where I'm going to be going, because I am looking for wherever the next primary story bit is. I guess there's just going to be more dealing with what's going on here. All right, we have a couple of these affinity missions I'm going to want to go deal with, so I'll wrap a couple of those up. So yeah, that was a part of that. My Switch I bought on launch day. I wore it out. Played in handheld mode so much that I wore the back plate off twice. But once I started gaming on my channel, my Switch has been docked for years. Yeah, my Switch has been docked since, again, pretty much day one with one vacation. So yeah, I really don't travel with it all that much. And honestly, if I was going to, I'd probably take the secondary one because, again, this one is just kind of hooked up for This one is mostly hooked up for actual... Oh, excuse me. Elma is here afternoon. You're telling me I've actually got timeline issues with the affinity missions? That's crazy. All right. Let's go see what some of these are about. Pick a few of these up, see where they go. But yeah, my hookup is for the gaming channel at this point, same as you, Nerd Stuff. I think the Minecraft movie made like 700 million at the box office. Holy damn. Random people can join your game? I assumed that's what it was doing. However, I think now that I've gone through it and gone through what was going on, I think what it was me joining just a general purpose lobby. I was not very clear in the moment as to what it was asking me to do. I was hoping I could make it up there.
Listen.
There we go. Level 18. I am well good enough for that.
Hey, you. I've been looking for you.
Yeah, I think it was just a general purpose lobby. If you played Monster Hunter, that's another one that makes that apparent. But they ask that when you start the game, because the internet element is like already at play. I had to unlock it. So I think that's what all that was about.
Smart choice. Smart people live longer.
All right, so what's going on?
I picked out a mission or 3 for you. No thanks needed. Run along and handle them. Should be a cakewalk. Real easy street.
Is this guy just... No, wait, no, fuck you. Are you just making me do your job for you?
You're a tough potato, aren't you? I like tough potatoes. So don't make me mash you, potato.
Random people can join your game. My N64 back in the day had the... Had the most limp joystick in gaming history. I would have to look up. It's somebody I follow on Twitter. I'm not calling it X. I still refuse. Fuck you, Elon. On Twitter, there's a guy I follow who has been developing a new modern joystick for a replacement for the N64, and it is really high quality built. I was so excited for it to come out, and I'm not gonna lie.
Easy enough, yeah. Oh, and don't take too long, or you and me will have problems.
Bro, we can have problems all day long. Go eat a dick. Anyways, my problem when he finally released the product is it looked so cool, like so functionally beefy. I was excited for it, but it's modeled after... Okay, if you've ever done N64 joystick replacements, there's really like 2 ways you can go about it. All the way over there. Way 1 is you can get like a proper N64 joystick, either from an old skeleton system that's been broken in some other way, and you're just kind of pulling the parts out from it, or you can get an aftermarket in the same avenue, or you can basically replace it with the GameCube joystick, because they're functionally the same and they're, I believe, rather compatible. I haven't done the GameCube option, so I don't want to say that with as much confidence, but I understand that you can swap it with a GameCube controller. And a lot of people do, because the GameCube controller was actually built with a little bit more robustness, and it didn't wear away in the same way that the N64 one did. A big problem with the N64 controllers that resulted in the limp dick energy is the actual... There's a cup on the inside that it ends up rubbing against. And that was kind of how they got the friction to build up to it. But obviously, plastic on plastic, you start to wear things away. And if you open an old limp joystick up, you actually can find just a big pileup of plastic powder on the inside. Because that's what's happened, is you've worn the joystick too loose and it's just not functioning that way anymore. Alright, here's a couple of things to go fight. I'm just going to let this auto fight while I talk, because again, I am of the level to allow for me to be lazy like that while I discuss things, I suppose. But anyways, they made this replacement joystick and it's modeled after the GameCube style. I was so excited for it, and I want the difference being is the GameCube is a lower joystick. You technically have more joystick as far as the elevation from the controller with the classic N64 style. The problem you're going to get is a lot of the replacement actual manufactured ones have imperfections and they don't have the polish that you would like to get with a true OEM joystick. And so the old OEM joysticks are getting to be fewer and fewer because the only way to get those these days is to actually pull them right out of a functioning, or what would have been the functioning joystick if nothing else, of an actual controller. Because a lot of the aftermarket ones, you're going to get flash on some of the plastics, which means you either have to sand or wear them away. And then you have to wonder, was it manufactured with that flash as part of the intention for the tolerance? Once you take that away, is it too loose? There's so many problems with it. And yes, it was Mario Party's fault. Everybody palming that thing, and did you have Mario Party Hand, where you had either the blister or the scab that was in the dead center palm of your hand that looked like you were some sort of crack addict scratching at your finger, trying to just if you know, you know. But as far as that goes, there was like all of those ones where you had to just circle the joystick, and it gave everybody what we used to call Mario Party hands. And I don't think I have any better way to describe it. Alright, so dealt with whatever was going on here. I assume, unless there's some all the way back in the corner, because it looks like this loops around. I'll check that. Well, I grabbed that while I was over here. I'm sure they probably want me to do something specific on fighting these guys right now. But I'm just going to go location to location and murder, death, kill for now and see where it takes me. Yep, exactly. The Mario Party hands. Alright, now I've got to ask, which Mario Party was it that did that to you? My drug of choice was, I think it was it Mario Party 3? Where the cover case was, oh hey, there you go. Problem dealt with. Where Mario had the cowboy hat. That was mine. That was the one that did it to me. I was not on board with Mario Party when the first one came out, and I think the second one was not the one I'm thinking of, but I also remember playing a different Mario Party than the one I owned at a friend's place, and so that was a whole different element and beast around all of that stuff. 3, Mario with the cowboy hat, yep. Alright, let's go here. Yes. Okay, Richard, I do want to talk about this. So, pretty much a lot of people in my Discord are big fans of Nikki G, so much so that I actually did commission a song specifically on there for me to use on my stream at some point. I still never have, but it was with the intent for me to be able to make use of it here. But she is doing a live, she has now started some sort of podcast. I know none of the details other than, unfortunately, it is going live right now, and I do want to catch the tail end of it, so I'm probably going to be wrapping up here fairly soon. Thank you for letting me know that that's going on, Richard. So she is doing a big podcast thing. I want to see what's going on with it. But with that going on, I am going to plug her here as well. So if you are a fan of English covers of a lot of everyone's favorite anime songs, check out Nikki G. She's awesome. But we're a big stand for her out in my Discord. Let me make sure I polish these off and don't miss anything on the way out the door here. Gonna be getting back between watching hers and yours probably. I don't blame you, Richard. That's where I'm going to be going right after this. Elon does own the rights to... You know you're not wrong. Straight up callus in the palm of your hand, so you have experience circle jerking Mario to competitive levels. Yes, absolutely. The symptom got worse and worse each game with the burning of your skin off. I was not aware of that. I believe the next time I joined in for Mario Party, God, would it have been... Did they have a GameCube one? I think they had a GameCube one. But yeah, I was only the one with Mario Party with the cowboy hat. I did not experience all that many of the other ones. Like I said, I know that my friend had a separate one. For some reason, I think it was Mario Party 2. Nikki G is great. Love her. Love the old Digimon Adventure cover. Absolutely. It was great having you here, Nerd Stuff. Thank you very much for stopping in. But yes, I am going to be wrapping up here. As I say with the past other times, I am going to do my darndest to not progress on the story elements with this unless I'm streaming it. But expect to see some other progress in other ways on this game next time we come back around. Anyways, thank you so much, everybody who stopped in. Awesome having you all here. Hopefully we get to see you next time. In the meantime, hope you all have a great one. And yeah, as I like to say at the end, thank you so much. Hope to see you next time. Bye-bye. All right.